Hello, good evening. How are you? My name is Ursi, and I'm responsible for recruiting students from the African continent for the ESADE MBA and master programs. So I would say good evening to all of you because I think most of us, we're in the same time zone. So I think saying good evening will cover most of us, right? So yeah, welcome to our coffee chat that we have organized specifically for candidates that we have from the African continent. So mainly this kind of webinars we organize very regularly, but like more globally. And we thought it would be nice to have this specific chat for candidates from the African continent together with our current students. So normally we call it coffee chat, and I thought, well, we should change it because we're going to be inviting candidates from 54 countries, and it's true that in Africa there's a really rich coffee culture, but also tea, right? So that's why I changed the title into Coffee Tea Chat. So yeah, welcome all of you. It would be really nice because we had about 100 people that registered for tonight. So it would be really nice to know your name, where you are from, if you're having a coffee or a tea, for example. So please feel free to write it in the chat so that, well, myself and the speakers, we know where you are from, what countries you're coming from. So that would be great. So before I will introduce our students to you, I would just quickly want to go through some housekeeping rules. So we decided to ask you, well, to write your questions in the Q&A, right? So the microphones are muted because we're going to be quite some people, and it makes it easier for us also to coordinate the questions. And then if we see it in the Q&A, so you will see, I would ask you to use the chat just for like to write your name and the country where you are from. And then you will see that there's a specific Q&A box. So I would like to ask you to write your questions there so it's more organized, and I can also find them more easily during the Q&A, right? So what's gonna happen today? So first of all, I will introduce our students to you. And then I would like to start with a round table. Where I prepared some questions for our students because I do know that those are questions that are frequently asked. So we will do like a kind of round table, the four of us. And then after that, we will open the floor to your questions. So I will then see what questions we have in the Q&A box. So if for any reason, I don't know how many questions there will be. So if for any reason we are not able to answer your questions, I will give you my email at the end. So feel free then to send me questions afterwards, and I can easily also redirect your questions to our students. So first of all, I'm very grateful to have Diaa, Joy, and Nicole here with me, because at the end, we're very happy we can count on our students and alumni because they are, I would say, the best representation of the school because, well, I can tell you how it is to study at ESADE and what you're going to experience. But then I do think that, the best experience comes from the students themselves, right? So that's why I'm very grateful to have the three of you with me here, not physically, right? But we're all in Barcelona. We're all in Barcelona now. And so, yeah, so my first, how I would like to start is ask each of you to introduce yourself. So maybe, of course, where are you from? What country? What is your background as education? And what was your work experience before you decided to embark your journey at ESADE? Maybe Diaa, you want to start?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Orsi, for organizing this. And thank you to all the attendees for, first of all, being on time and joining us for this lovely coffee/tea chat. My name is Diaa Wang. I'm from Egypt. I would say the first thing about me is I'm a graduate from the American University in Cairo. I studied economics, that was my major. Afterwards, I joined a company called EA Energy, which specializes in infrastructure mainly. And my job position was business development. And I stayed there from post-graduation up until I joined the MBA. Career-wise, I think that mainly my job entailed building communication networks between contractors and local employees in Egypt. And beyond that point, I think my main job focus now is trying to communicate while I'm in the MBA, but so far they haven't asked too much from me, so I'm glad about that. And yeah, that's it about me and the introduction.
Thank you, Diaa. Nicole, you want to continue?
Cool. So before I start, I just want to say it was so nice seeing all the South African names popping up on the side. Lerato, Lee, Nikki, I saw you enjoying your rooibos. So loving to see that. But to tell you some information about myself, my name's Nicole. I am from Johannesburg, originally Riverlea in the south of Joburg, if you guys are familiar with that. I studied at WITS. I did my honors degree in corporate finance and investment. I then did my graduate program at South African Breweries in marketing. I was there, I started as an assistant brand manager, moved to brand manager and then marketing manager looking after 3 countries. Thereafter, I left for a little stint in investment banking at Investec. And then I was headhunted by Heineken. And I was working on brand and innovation at Heineken. So that's me.
Thank you, Nicole. Joy?
Thanks, Nicole. Adetutu said she's from sunny Nigeria. That's funny. Yeah, the culture of no never-ending summer. Yes, so my name is Joy Elekwuwa. I'm Nigerian. I'm from Rivers State, South representing. So yes, before I studied, the last, I think, 4+5 years of my career was in professional services. I was working with PwC, first in audit and then in management consulting. It was a very intensive and interesting time because, I mean, if anybody knows or has an experience with auditors, it's one of the most intense work there is. But then I decided to move to management consulting because I felt that was where my niche lay, and I'd gotten lots of experience in audits, which was very interesting. I went in not really fancying the job. I figured, why not just give it a go? But I ended up working with different clients across sectors: oil and gas, financial services, development financial institutions, insurance. My clients were in public and private sectors. So it was a very good learning experience for me. And then I moved to management consulting. So management consulting was a strategic move for me because I decided that that was where I wanted to focus. But I also wanted to gain a bit of experience there first before my MBA because I wanted to have a little bit of background in that area. But then again, Nicole and Diaa, I'm currently here in Barcelona, and it's been interesting at ESADE. So I don't know if you know, it's #1 MBA for women, and you know, it's doing very well in entrepreneurship. But that itself was one of the major drivers for me that I decided that I was going to take my experience and my business acumen to the next level. So I decided to do an MBA. So voila. Here I am with this lovely company and talking to you this evening. So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy, Nicole, and Diaa. So I would like to go back to the moment where you decided, okay, look, I want to do an MBA. I want to boost my career. So I would like to ask each of you, what was your main motivation? What was that point in your career that you said, okay, now it's time to do it? Joy, you want to continue? Yeah, you already started.
I had an early midlife crisis. No, I'm just kidding. No, doing an MBA was, I always wanted to do a postgraduate degree because I figured at some point you need to upskill. And I also wanted it to be in a reputable business school. and I also wanted a very diverse cohort. And I also would like to parlay this into, more career advancement and change of country. So last year, no, 2019. I mean, 2020 was a blur. I keep thinking of it. I keep thinking of 2019 as last year. So 2019, I decided that I was going to go to school in 2020. So I quit my job, decided to take some time off and really enjoy the lull between school and work. And then, yeah, so it was, is it called Triple C? The career, the country, competency, when you want to make a change. Yes, so that's kind of why I decided to do the MBA. I wanted to change country. I wanted to change competency, not so much because I'm still interested in management consulting, but I'm also looking for career advancement. So that's why I decided that this is the way to go.
Okay, thank you. Nicole?
Cool. So I think a big change for me was definitely during the 2020 lockdown that happened, where you were forced to sit inside a house and think about what is your plan. And I think I had always planned to begin my MBA next year, or at least at the end of this year, 2021. And while I was at home during 2020, I then started researching. I knew I definitely wanted to do an MBA just to refine my business thinking and really just push myself from an understanding and a business point of view. And I started looking, and that's really when I started asking myself the question, okay, you want to do this? What is your plan? When are you doing it? And how are you doing this? And then reaching out to ESADE, having conversations with URC, and really that's kind of the starting point of it all. And I never thought that when I started that process in 2020, a few months later, I'll actually be sitting in Barcelona, having this conversation, trying to convince other people to make the same amazing decision, because you will not regret it. But yeah, it's only been a month for me officially. But I think we'll cover that later. But really, I think getting the opportunity to sit at home and really review what are your life goals, what is it that you want to achieve, and how do you plan on achieving those things is really just that was the defining point for me.
Thank you, Nicole. Diaa, what was your motivation?
Yeah, so for me, because of the nature of my business, and I work cross-border in an international business between the Middle East and China, I thought to myself at some point that I could expand this further. Like the scope that I got and the exposure that I had to doing business in China was incredible to me. And I felt like I wanted to expand on this more. I wanted to learn more about doing business in different cultures, in different countries, and also to improve my business acumen and my business knowledge. And putting those two together, then the MBA came up. And I decided that doing an MBA in an international diverse business school was the way for me. And that's where my search started, and that's how I landed at ESADE.
Okay, I want to go deeper in what you just said about the search. So how did you start your research? How did you come to ESADE?
So the first thing that I think almost everyone does is you look at like the rankings and the lists. And then I looked at several ones. They were super confusing, different rankings and different criterias. So I took a step back and I started to put down the things that I was looking for in an MBA rather than following like a set list of where the schools are. And I know I wanted an international and diverse business school, because this is one of the primary reasons why I wanted to do it. Second of all, I'm a big fan of small classes. I know that there are some schools out there that have like hundreds of candidates. I wanted to have a more customized, more personalized MBA. And third of all, I wanted to live in a country where there's a little bit sun and a little bit of a beach. And after putting those criteria in, I narrowed the list down to ESADE and some other candidates. And then I really went into the research of what's the core of the school, what the school stands for, and what the ideals. And ESADE came out as the perfect match.
Okay, yeah, I think if you choose a school, because there are so many good schools in the world, right? But I think what is important is to see if you can identify yourself with the values of the school, right? and we can talk about it later. But yeah, I think that's important. Nicole, how did you start your research?
So I did definitely the same thing that Diaa did. Went straight to rankings and then started putting together my list. But one of the things that was really important to me personally is to live in a city that allows me to learn a new language. So that was slightly different in your decision making. I wanted the opportunity to learn a new language. And when you think of Spanish, there's something about it that is slightly easier. I would like to guess if you're speaking English. So that's definitely part of my decision-making process. And yeah, just definitely within Europe, new language. And then once I kind of bottled it or kind of whittled it down to my top 5, I then reached out to people within the different schools, specifically South Africans, to understand how was their experience coming with a more or less same background as me. How are you experiencing being a part of those universities, and what is the difference? And that's really assisted me with realizing what is the better university that suits what it is I'm looking for.
Yeah, I do think it's really important when before you make a decision to talk to students and alumni in the school, right? And I think we're very, well, as I said, I'm very grateful for you to be here today, because it's part of the research that that most of the attendees here are doing, right? To listen and to hear the experiences, and just to talk, to have one-to-one conversations with alumni or students, right? Joe, how did you start your research?
Same as everybody, rankings first. So I knew there was a cutoff for me. I said I was going to look at the top 40 business schools across board. So what I did was I looked at the FT rankings, I looked at economics, I looked at all of them and looked at schools that featured consistently. I mean, because the rankings were a bit all over the place. You see a school ranking here, number 1, and then in another school it's number 10 or it's not even featured. So I wanted a bit of consistency to see schools that I could see throughout. So when I got that, for me, that would address quality. So when I got that out of the way, I then decided that, okay, what were the individual attributes? And because I mean, the school has to also be a match for you as much as you're a match for them. So I decided, first of all, one of the things I wanted to do was, like Diaa and Nicole, I wanted a very diverse cohort. So I was looking for schools that, you know, would have people from all corners of the world. And then I also wanted schools with eclectic, you know, skill sets and experiences. And I didn't just want a school that was always finance focused, it's just this. I didn't want that. I wanted a school that, you know, embraced the different skills that were available there, because I felt I could learn a lot more from such an environment. And then I also wanted a school that was not too big or not too small, because I mean, I think ESADE just hit the sweet spot in the sense that it's large enough that you have a very good network of cohorts, but it's small enough and intimate enough that you can at least try to know most of the people that you're schooling with. So it's a bit of a balance. So I wanted that as well. And then I also like learning languages, even though I haven't successfully done any one yet, but I figured, yes, I would like to learn Spanish. And then there's something which I found out was bragging rights in the website. And they said one of the reasons why you should come to ESADE was Barcelona. I was like, okay, you're just going to say I should just come to ESADE because of Barcelona. And really, Barcelona is such a beautiful city. And, you know, some universities are usually like, in some small towns where not a lot is happening. Barcelona, you can literally, if you're looking for the artsy scene, you would find it there. If you're looking for just, you know, more like a communal area, if you're looking for an avant-garde, whatever neighborhood, you would literally find it. And so it's such a historic city to school in. But I also looked at the culture as well. I mean, ESADE prides itself on collaborative spirit, which is basically everybody working together to achieve a goal. They put you in teams, and then you try to, you know, work with the teams just to achieve the objective that you have. And so there's always this zeal to get you to do good, to do better. There's to push you to be a better version of yourself. So I saw some of that, and also I spoke with another Nigerian who had gone to ESADE just to hear what her experience was. I wanted to know if OC was legit. Then there's this lady, Ursi, she's been selling me a lot of stuff and I'm buying it, but I need to know what the deal is. And she was like, she told me, okay, I had a very lovely time. It's an experience that if you choose to have a valuable and good experience, you would have it here at ESADE, and so far so good. So I think I'm making the right decision.
So far so good. So you got to Barcelona, but Joy, you also had some challenges, right? So because once you decided, okay, I'm going to go for ESADE, you started the admissions process.
Yes.
How was that experience, and what were the challenges that you were facing, right? Well, mainly being in Nigeria, and there were some procedures that you had to go through, right?
Yes, there were.
What did you learn from them?
It was, I mean, I used to cry to Nicole and some other students all the time. I said, oh my God, my visa. No, it really is a challenging process, but I think you need ample time to apply. I mean, it's one of those processes because there are not a lot of people you don't really know. So, but now hindsight, I can tell you that you need a lot of, you need some time. Don't try to cut it too close. You need some time to get your documents ready. I mean, I'm very familiar with the Nigerian system. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you, I went to Obafemi Awolowo University. So I went to OAU and I know how difficult it is to get transcripts and stuff like that. But luckily, in my case, for some reason, it worked out. And and let's face it, the Nigerian passport is not the sexiest at times. So you get, and Nicole also had a bit of challenge. You get extra scrutiny, and then even processes that probably the school could help out in other regions were not so easy to achieve in Nigeria. So, but I mean, I did a list. I think I compiled a list of things, requirements, and I shared that with Usi just so that whoever is coming next time won't go through the madness that I went through. So you need to apply. You need to get your certificates from your school. You need to have your documents authenticated in Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There's just a whole lot of drama around that. And then you need to book an appointment at the embassy and get all your requirements ready essentially on time.
Yeah.
So I think the list will help. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's important what you just said. So you should start on time, because there are some countries in Africa that have more challenges, right, regarding documentation. Now, this year was also a quite difficult year because of COVID, right? So in some countries, embassies were closed, schools were closed. So these were extra challenges that we were not experiencing also the year before, right? So it is affected, well, as a school. We are keeping through our corporate relations department, we are keeping relations with embassies. So what we did in different countries around the world where we saw, okay, the visa is taking some delay, we were proactively contacting with embassies, with ambassadors to ask help for our students, right? So in that case, but I do know, Joy, that you had some challenges. And Nicole, you also had some, right? And you were quite late when you applied.
Yeah. So I think that I'm a little bit of an interesting case because I was working throughout. So I chose the January intake, which means that you start online work from about August, October. And we did 2 subjects online, and then I joined Joy and Diaa as of January. So amongst everything, trying to get paperwork over COVID, I had the additional challenge of having full-time work at the same time. So that proved to be quite interesting, but nonetheless, I think the biggest advice that I can give to South Africans is make sure you get your police clearance as soon as you've made the decision, because that's the one element that takes the longest to get. I think it takes about a month, if not a month and 2 weeks. So just make sure you get that in. The other things I had less of issues with, and as soon as I had dropped all my paperwork off at the embassy, things moved very quickly thereafter. I think it's the process of gathering all the documents that takes time, especially the police clearance. And a few things were closed during COVID, so there was just a way of navigating the system. Now that something's closed, what are my other options, and what does the embassy want to accept? But they were really, the embassy really assisted me. So no, outside of that, no issues.
And then Nicole, so also regarding the scholarships, so this also took some,
Yes.
own time for you. So maybe you want to share your experience there regarding the scholarship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think, as I had mentioned previously, I was planning to only begin my MBA in 2021, and with the opportunity of me being accepted, there was a few financial decisions that I then needed to make because I wasn't necessarily financially ready. So I had the conversation with URC to say I'm able to start. I can pack my bags now and come to Barcelona. However, I need assistance from a scholarship point of view. And lucky enough, I was able to get a really good scholarship with the Ford Foundation, which specializes in giving bursaries or potential partial discounts on your tuition. Which is what I was able to get. And then the balance I then was able to get from Prodigy. So as you know, in South Africa, there are almost no banks that give loans or study loans for studying abroad. Most of the study loans are for your local universities. However, Prodigy doesn't require a lot of they specialize in loans for master's students. So I would highly recommend if you have any financial issues, the two options that you have is around applying for scholarships and as many as you can. And secondly, to make up the difference between the two is definitely approaching Prodigy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so regarding the scholarships, financial options at ESADE, so our candidates can apply and for a scholarship, and then of course also go for the loan, right? So so once you're admitted to the program, your scholarship application will be taken to the scholarship committee, and if you want information on scholarship, you will see on the website there's a long list of scholarships. So we then ask the candidates to choose a scholarship that they think they identify themselves most with, where they can easily explain why they deserve a scholarship, why we should give them a scholarship, right? So there's a list of about 35 different scholarships. We even have the African Business Scholarship, right? So if you think, look, I can justify there, I can come up with examples what of my what I've realized, then you could go for example, the African Business Scholarship, the Women in Business Scholarship. So there's so many. And then, of course, if you say, look, a scholarship alone is not enough. So our scholarships go up to 50%, maximum 50% of the tuition fee. Then, of course, you can combine it with one of the loan options. So there are two options, as Nicole said. So the Prodigy Bank, and then also loan options with the Spanish bank. So this is another option that you could go. Both loans, they have a currency period. So if you say a grace period, sorry, if you say, look, I want to start paying off the loan once I finish the MBA, that is possible. So you can check out just the options that are more convenient for you, right? So so yeah. So I want to go to Diaa because I want to change subject a little bit, and I would like to, well, of course, the three of you choose ESADE. You're here with us. I would like to hear from Diaa. How do you think that ESADE is different from other schools? Because you said, okay, I made my short list, and there were 3-4 schools. So how do you think? In what way are we different? So yeah.
Okay. So like I mentioned earlier before, like the criteria that I was looking for in terms of diversity and the classes, I all found them in ESADE. But when I did my deeper research and I was started to look at what the school stands for and so on, I think the most relatable part was the collaborative spirit. The program, I read through like the curriculums. I was very meticulous, like reading through the curriculums of different universities and how they operate. And I think I didn't find any business school at all that puts so much emphasis on group work, and you'll have to work with your team to achieve the grade. And that to me was very interesting because I was never put in this environment before, where all previous experiences are like you just work with yourself, you put focus on your own studies, and you get there. And to me, that in itself was a challenge and a very interesting one. The second one that I thought that was super interesting was the amount of coursework that you have, not on academic or not strictly academic items, but we have like leadership, we have communication skills, we have things on decision making. And to me, that was critical to an MBA. I didn't want to go to an MBA that only offers like finance and accounting and marketing, which is offered across the board all over business schools. It's pretty much the same. What really stood out with ESADE is that you can do a lot of personal development, personal growth, and there's focus on you as a person, as well as your group and how you guys can develop together. And that was super important to me.
Yeah, I do think so. If you say, look, I'm a really competitive person and I wanna see the results myself, and then I would say don't choose for ESADE, you know, because I mean the most of your grades are based, I mean not all of them, but a large number of your grades are based on group work, right? So if you say, look, no, I mean, it's good that there should be competition, right? But in a healthy way, right? So so it's all about experience, learning from each other, and that's why also, well, we are trying to have this diversity in class, and I do think we succeed there, right? Because I think the teams that you're working with are really, well, if you're five students, there are 5 different countries, right, represented. Maybe Joy, do you want to tell a bit more about the class experience that you have? It's a little bit different, of course, this year because, well, I think I mean, we're quite confident that by September, with the next edition, we can go back 100% to face-to-face. So this year is a little bit different. Also, what Nicole said. So she joined the January intake. So normally we only have 1 intake per year, which is in September. Now, due to COVID this year, we redesigned the MBA a little bit so that those students that could be here in October, we postponed with 1 month, could start in October, and then those and a smaller part of the students that could not make it because of COVID, they could start in January and travel then in January, and we redesigned so that all the students have cover the same content, right? So so yeah, so maybe Joy, you want to tell a bit more about your class experience?
I mean, the COVID situation is a very tricky one, but I must say that ESADE has tried to adapt as much as possible, and right now I don't feel that much. I mean, it's great if we had 100% class face-to-face classes, but we now have some sort of hybrid method, which isn't bad at all, to be honest. So the school has adapted, as every organization must in these times. And what we have is some in-person classes and then some online classes. But even that is, I think at this point, we're almost 60% in class and 40% that, which is much more than a lot of unis out there. And so bravo for that. So, and sometimes I won't lie to you, I don't mind the Zoom classes because then I don't have to go anywhere, but that's me. But yes, so we have face-to-face sometimes and we have Zoom. So sometimes it's also good via Zoom because then you get to see some of the classmates you haven't seen in a while and just be like, hey, this person is here. But the FaceTime classes, I think almost every course we have, there's at least some FaceTime so that you go in-person classes and learn with other students. So yeah, the school has adapted, and I mean, this is a new reality. Some schools went 100% online, I think, but I mean, ESADE still wants us to have this unique experience of being together with, you know, our classmates. So they've managed it in such a way that there's social distancing. We are grouped into sections so that we can interact with people from our sections. So our sections are kind of like our bubble in a way. And then the school has also adapted in such that your sections will change so that you get mixed with other students, because part of the MBA experience is, you know, branching out, creating a large network. You don't want to spend the whole time in school and not meet other students. So it will be moved from sections to sections just so that you meet people from other parts of the MBA, but still smaller sizes in such a way that, you know, the safety of the students are actually safeguarded through social distancing in the classes, but it's still intimate. And then one of the advantages is that you now get to have at least even a closer experience with the teaching. So yes, so it's a hybrid method, some face-to-face, some virtual, but mostly face-to-face at this point, with plans towards getting it back to 100% in-person classes.
Okay, so that's what I mentioned before. Yeah, Nicole, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add to that because my experience has been different. So since I've joined in January, I've had no online classes whatsoever. Every single week, I've been going to campus, sometimes on Saturdays for the awesome simulation day that we had. So my experience is a little different from the October take, and that's obviously just linked to the curve that Spain experienced at the end of last year from an infection point of view. So yeah, it's interesting to see the differences in experiences, even though we're in the same MBA. Just wanted to point that out.
Good. Thank you, Nicole. So I have another question for you. So how do you think that this MBA could help, students from the African continent to boost their career? So taking into account the challenges, but also the opportunities that there are in the on the African continent. So because when I've been talking to a lot of candidates during the last year, and it's interesting. So there are students that really say, well, okay, look, I want to boost my career. I want to have the experience abroad and maybe, develop my career there. But then a very large number of candidates from the African continent, they are thinking of going back to their country and boosting, and helping to innovate and to bring change in their country, right? So how do you think that an MBA at ESADE could help them with that?
Definitely. So I think the obviously Diaa made mention of the array of different subjects that you would take. It really, an MBA is known for refinement. It's a year of you just being put through the ringer and going through every single subject to just expand your mind, to understand concepts that you may not have been exposed to. For example, if you don't have a business background, this is the perfect opportunity for you to fast track that, because the course is structured in such a way to ensure that people that don't have a business background, for example, we have someone within our cohort who's a professional golf player. We also have someone who is a journalist. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is from this CA background, which is also great, but I think it just brings a different diversity of thinking into the conversations that you have in class. So definitely the access to courses that really open your mind and build innovation and thinking in different ways. The second thing is you also have access to labs. So there's specific labs that are offered to MBA students. We haven't started them as yet, but I do know that there's innovation, there's entrepreneurship, there is marketing. I can't think of what the fourth one is. There are also CAP sessions. Thanks, Joy. There's also CAP sessions, which is essentially capability fast tracking. So for example, I am considering potentially moving from marketing to consulting. And if that's the case, I don't have the experience and I don't have the connections to do so. So being a part of the CAP sessions, you have a session every week where you have the opportunity to meet a professional and a specialist within that space. That'll explain to you what are the things that they're looking for in potential what are employers looking for within that space. And we also have sessions where they teach you the capabilities that are required. So in my example, for consulting, you will go through case studies in order to ensure that you do case cracking sessions, because that's a requirement when applying for consulting. So there's just so many platforms outside of just the subjects that you're doing, where you have an opportunity to network, you have an opportunity to learn, you have an opportunity to just have access to information and people and resources that you would have never had if you didn't make the step to do this. And I think ESADE packages it so well that you can pick a certain if you're not sure about where it is you want to go after your MBA, or if you're crystal clear on where you want to go, there are very specific ways of which they will help you along that road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then, well, we also have a lot of clubs that you can join, right? And there, I mean, yourself and Joy, you started a new club in ESADE where, I mean, we are very proud of, and which is a new club, which is Blacks in Business and Allies. So maybe Joy, you want to tell a bit more about, well, in general, well, about the clubs and why specific, where did the idea come from to start with this new club? Yeah, your experience there. What can the clubs also offer to the students, right? To help them with a career path.
Cool. So I think myself and Max were actually co-presidents for the club. And we're having conversations with a lot of people within the cohort about racial specific and socially driven racial conversations. And because of the way society is set up, you're exposed to a lot of sensationalized news. And a lot of people don't necessarily have the space to have safe conversations around having a view on something or agreeing or not agreeing. So we really felt that this club needs to exist for two reasons. First of all, to promote and kind of ensure that people of color, once they do join the club, there's a network that they can link into. And second of all, if you are an ally, what are the tools that you should be equipped to be an ally for people of color? What are the questions you should be asking? What are the actions that you can be doing? And just a space to ask questions and equip yourself with ways that, because we know that once we go back into corporate, this diversity and inclusion is a huge trend. It is actually not a trend, it's an expectation. And going back into the workforce, you need to have some sort of understanding and backing on how do you approach these things and sensitivities around racially heightened topics. But Joy, do you want to jump in as well and add?
Okay, yes. So, I mean, before now, I think last year, there was a Black student as well. And I think he was feeling lonesome. He was probably the only Black student last year. But then some of the things he also noticed was this need for representation, this need for diversity as well. So he reached out to Max and Nicole when we came in. So he was very quick to welcome them into the fold and, have this conversation about the need to have a club that pushed the agenda of Black people at ESADE as well. And also, I mean, it's well and good to talk about the challenges that Black people face, but you need allies for something concrete to happen. You need people who would stand up alongside you and say, yes, that's not right. You need people who would join in the conversation and lend a voice. So Blacks in Business, Nicole has said it all, is basically how do we ensure that there are more Black people in business? How do we, and one of the ways is through business schools. I mean, we were in business school, so how do we get them there? How do we ensure that, the Fortune 500 companies have more people of color and more representation? So it tackles different ideas or different challenges about that Black people face, and through maybe trainings on unconscious bias, through sensitizations and workshops, through different activities and partnership, just to create that awareness. It's difficult to accuse somebody, or not accuse is the wrong word. It's difficult if people are not made aware of something, because I mean, the people are from different environment. Like we said, ESADE is a very diverse school. We have over 50 plus countries represented. So there are certain places that, maybe they don't identify with maybe the struggles or know what that's about. So these are also an opportunity, especially as companies these days are going, international, even within teams. So they need to understand people from different races and different ethnic upbringings and whatnot. Is kind of one of the major drivers for the club. And I'm the VP of finance for the club, and Madam President is here with us today, Nicole. Yes, so.
Okay. Yeah, and I did hear that from the first day that the club was created, there was an amazing amount of interest, because I believe it was the first club that got so many members from the very beginning, right? Is that correct?
Definitely. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go, Joy.
Women were too polite. I mean, if it was a man now, he would have just gone ahead. Yeah. There was a lot of interest. Lots of people showed interest in being allies to the club. Lots of people showed interest in trying to understand what is this club about? What are the challenges? Okay, I didn't even know this was an issue. And, so there's been overwhelming support for the club, and we're also trying to get more buy-in from the school as well, because school, I mean, ESADE is all about embracing diversity, and this is one of the issues that is close to the hearts of the students. So yes, it's hard support from students and from the faculty as well.
Great, thank you. So I would like to have Diaa's opinion on, well, the clubs more in general, because the Blacks in Business is not the only club. So I don't know, Diaa, what is your experience with clubs? Are you a member of any?
Yes, so right off the bat, I joined 2 clubs. I joined the consulting club and the luxury and retail. And it's very interesting how it started. Like when we got into the WhatsApp group, when ESADE put us in the WhatsApp group, I started to go through the list of clubs, and then people started to mention them, and they started to organize as students to the different areas of interest. And I started hopping around different circles with different clubs. So I went into like the sales club, there's a marketing club, there's an Asia business club. And I got attracted to those 2 the most because, one, I'm very interested in consulting. So I joined the consulting club, and I really like the resources and the materials they provide to all candidates who wish to join consulting. And for the retail and luxury club is mainly out of interest. You don't have to be like an active participant member. You can join in and attend the events and attend the speakers. And this is like my interest club, where I just pop in and see what's happening in the events, join in some talks and so on.
What are the requirements to become a member of the club? What do you have to get in?
Nothing at all. Just sign up and they will put you on the mailing list. As long as you don't take on any like responsibilities, if you don't want to, you can just become an attending member, and that's fairly easy and puts you on the network with the other guys who are doing different kinds of business.
Okay, so yeah, one other thing I would like to mention about ESADE is the strong focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. So we also have clubs related to that. And then we also have our, what we call the street of innovation, right? The Rambla of innovation, where, well, we have different working spaces going from, well, creating your idea to even a space where angel investors come together, where you can work with entrepreneurs, where you can work with companies, because we also have an incubator right on campus. So what is your experience there, Diaa? Have you been doing any projects there?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to that. I've had the chance to walk down the Rambla of Innovation. I've seen the fabrication lab that they have there, the fusion point, the one that they have with Accenture, which is amazing. You can always pop in and see like the people working or trying to innovate in their business. Also, something that I was really excited by was the Creopolis and the existence of an ESADE angel investment network, where if you come up with a startup or an idea and you're looking for investment, there's actually a group of ESADians who could come in and sponsor you if you would like, or if you pass through their process that they have in filtering businesses. And I think that's an amazing opportunity and an amazing platform for anyone who has the entrepreneurial spirit and wants to go ahead and start their own business.
Okay, good, thank you. So we're running a little bit late, but it's very interesting. So I just one more question, and then I go to the Q&A, because I see we have some questions there. And this is a question that is of interest for myself. So I would like to, I mean, you know, we're talking about diversity, and we do want to attract more students from the African continent. I'm doing my best. I've been doing a lot of actions, traveling, well, not this year, but traveling to different countries, working together with alumni, and I must say our alumni network is amazing. We did events in South Africa and Kenya. Unfortunately, I had to cancel my trip to Nigeria and to Ghana. But what we're doing from the admissions team together with alumni is setting up events where we bring together alumni with candidates, with collaborators, with companies, with the chambers of commerce. Even the ambassador of Spain came to our event in Kenya. So where we can, well, promote, first of all, the brand of ESADE, but also connect alumni, and then give the opportunity to candidates to learn, to get to know the school, right, in person. So, and hopefully soon we can go back, and I already made my travel plans. I don't think I can get to 54 countries in 1 year, but I'll do my best to go to as many as possible. So I would like to hear from you, besides this event, which is an example, how do you think, where could we do more effort to attract more, well, candidate students from Africa to the school? What, in your opinion, what do you think? Who wants to take this question?
I can jump in on this one.
Good, thank you.
I think one of the important things that I feel like was very helpful for me is the ESADE alumni. Of course, with after talking with Ursi, I started to reach out to ESADE alumni from Egypt, and I think I did this in an informal manner, but I think an ESADE network is huge. It's big. Like, a simple LinkedIn search can show you how many people, even on your second degree, are ESADE alumni. And that was very helpful for me. And I think if more people can start looking up ESADE alumni and talking to them, I think they will find almost all answers to their questions when it comes to the MBA.
Okay, that's good. Joy, Nicole, do you want to add anything? Yeah.
I can say something a bit to this. So one major challenge, I think, when trying to do an MBA with a top business school like ESADE is probably tuition. So Nicole has mentioned that she got a loan from Prodigy alongside scholarships. So my advice would be, as well, is apply early so that, I mean, you'll be considered for the scholarship that you're interested in, so that they don't have that many people that have gone in for that scholarship. And yes, I have seen 1 or 2 questions. Yes, the scholarships are international. Apply to the one that fits your competency, the one you think you stand the most chance. And barring if you don't even get enough scholarships, then you also have the opportunity to apply to Prodigy Finance or Bank Sabadell. So I use Bank Sabadell, which is surprising to my friends because it's a Spanish bank and I'm Nigerian, and they're like, how did you get the loan? So Sabadell has an agreement with ESADE, and because they believe that you're going to get a very fantastic job and pay you the money, pay back the money, so they are willing to give you loan if you have a good credit history and pass the necessary, requirements to get that. So you can apply. So just do your homework on the scholarship that best suits you and also at least helps complement your financial plan, and also look at the sources of finance available to you, which is Prodigy, at least the 2 I know and that are at least quite sure. Prodigy and Sabadell. It's not that it's 100% guaranteed, you still have to pass their internal processes, but that's one way. So why I'm mentioning this is because I think maybe because I don't know how many countries in Africa have that very good currency power when you exchange it to euros. So I know that it tends to add up when you're trying to pay the tuition, and it seems like a lot of money, but also remember that ESADE is a top business school and MBA is an investment in your education. There are also resources that are available to you. So figure out your financial plan, also exhaust all the other options available to you as well. And I mean, like Diaa said, reach out to the network and, talk to them. Maybe you're worried that you're going to Spain and you're going to be the only Black person there. Maybe that's your worry. If that's also your worry, you're not going to be the only Black person there. And if you are, meet Ursi and say, why am I the only Black person here? But truly, there's more effort towards diversity. And even if which I strongly doubt that you are the only Black person recruited, then use that as a platform to create a change, make it a burning platform and it's a need for change there. You don't have to be with every member of your country. Everybody says, why didn't you go to the UK? There are lots of Nigerians there. Why not Spain? So if you're thinking, I just want to go to a place where I see more people like me, go to a place where you see less people like you so that people also begin to understand people like you.
Okay, thank you, Joy. I see in the Q&A that there are a lot of questions regarding the admissions process. So if you don't mind, I'm going to tell a bit more about that very quickly. I'm not sure if I'm going to be covering all the questions, but as I said, feel free to send me an email afterwards. So I got some regarding the requirements. There was a question from somebody that said, can we apply without an undergraduate degree? So I'm afraid you can't. So one of the requirements is having a bachelor degree. So so I'm sorry, but that's one of the main requirements. I got some questions regarding the Gmat and the GRE test. So the Gmat GRE tests are mandatory. Now the good news here is that since well, the good news, taking account unfortunate situation of COVID, is that a lot of the Gmat centers were closed. So our candidates were not able to go and do their Gmat test. So since the start of the COVID, we gave the opportunity to our candidates to do the ESADE online test. This test replaces the Gmat and the GRE. It's a test that is free of charge. And it's very similar to the Gmat and the GRE. So once you submit your application, you can choose a day and a time that you want to do this test. So this test for now is available until the 1st of April. So I cannot guarantee that after this date we will continue offer the test, but for now that's possible. So you study the same way as you would study for the Gmat. It's very similar. The kind of questions, there's a verbal part, a quantitative part, and reasoning part. So and this would completely replace the Gmat or the GRE. You can only do this test once. So if you say, look, I have a Gmat score already, but the score, well, we can talk about it, about the score is not, well, high enough, then you could choose to do the ESADE test, and then we will only take in account the best score. So this is, well, important to know, because it does seem that there's still some challenges going on with the Gmat online testing. So this is a good alternative. And I'm just checking some more questions regarding the admissions, regarding the scholarships. I got also a question about, okay, so you have to choose one scholarship. You cannot apply. So you have to choose the one that you think you identify yourself the most with. If you have entrepreneurial projects going on, you could go for the entrepreneurial scholarship, for example. So it's up to you to choose, and it's not like let's say, okay, I choose for the one scholarship, so the amount of my scholarship will be less if I choose one or the other. No, so that doesn't have any influence. So what is important for us to decide on, well, if a candidate receives a scholarship and what is the amount, there are different things that we take in account. Of course, the Gmat score, the GPA, we take the academic records in account, but also your work experience, your motivation, your soft skills, your international exposure, and your personality, right? What is your overall impact during the interview? So it's an overall view, and based on that, the scholarship committee will take a decision. If, for example, they think, okay, this candidate applied for this kind of scholarship, but we do think that she qualifies for the Forte scholarship, right? What Nicole mentioned in the beginning. So then we will give you advice and say, look, we recommend we can transfer your scholarship to the Forte, because then additionally you will have all the advantages of being a member of this Forte scholarship. And okay, so I got another question. Somebody who says that resigned from the job. So if that would affect the fact that he or she is currently not working. So this is one-to-one evaluation that we will do. Of course, if you have work experience, if you have the minimum of 2 years of work experience, and we think that this work experience is interesting, I would say, like, look, what do we mean by interesting work experience, right? What we want to guarantee is that the students that are joining the program, that they have interesting experience to share with the others, because at the end it's a learning experience, and more than half of what you will learn from your peers, right? So this is why what is important when we choose candidates, that well, they have solid work experience to bring in the program. I'm just checking if there's any more questions. Regarding the deadline and the application process, so in fact, there are official deadlines that are mentioned on the website, but at the end, we do hold a weekly admissions committee. So that means that we review applications on a weekly basis. So that means that you don't necessarily have to wait until the next deadline in order to know if you're admitted to the program. So if you say, look, my application is complete, I submitted all the documents, I've done my test, then we will proceed to do an official interview, which will be with me. Once this interview is done, I will prepare the application for the admissions committee, and then I would say if the application is complete, during the same week we can take your application to the committee. That means that from our side the process is quite fast. If you say, look, it is important for me to know if I have a scholarship before to commit and enroll to the program, then I would really recommend to apply for the scholarship at the same time as you're applying for the program. Because in that way, once your application is completed, you've done the interview, you are admitted to the program, that means that the next week I can take your scholarship application, if it's ready, to the scholarship committee. That means that you're admitted to the program, you will have a deadline between 2 and 4 weeks in order to take a decision and enroll and to pay the deposit fee. That means that in this period of time, you will also receive a decision from the scholarship committee. So that in that case, well, you can take a decision. If you're applying for a bank loan, the process normally is quite fast. Once the bank has all the documents they require, even Prodigy loan is even faster. It could be 1 week, 2 weeks, and the Sabadell bank could be, well, in a normal process between 2 and 4 weeks. So that means that depending on the amount that you ask your bank loan for, the fee that will be covered by the bank will be automatically transferred to the school. So if you say, look, I'm asking only for a 50% of bank loan, but I have to pay the deposit fee. So then we will ask you to pay the deposit fee, and then the rest of the amount will be covered by the bank. If you have, I would say 100% bank loan, and you need to enroll to the program, you need to pay the deposit payment, and your bank loan is not approved, you will have to do the deposit payment, and then we will reimburse this amount once your bank loan has been approved, right? And then, well, there's always room to talk about, well, specific situations. So we're very also flexible in that, taking into account your personal situations. So I got one question from somebody from Egypt, and this is going to be for Diaa, about cultural differences between the Spanish culture and Egypt. So
yes, I saw that one. It's from Egypt. So, well, first of all, I'm very happy to see a lot of Egyptians in the chat and participating in the Q&A. First thing I want to say is I don't think that I have enough time to describe like everything, or like I saw some questions about Barcelona itself. I'm opening the invitation to anyone who would like to add me on LinkedIn. It's exactly the name that you see, and I'll be glad to answer all your questions. To answer that question specifically, that's very tough because actually there's a lot of similarities, surprisingly, even because in the language, I believe the Spanish language has 3,000 words from Arabic, which makes a lot of things very, very understandable, especially when it comes to food, like, you know, arroz or zaytun. So for example, it's all the same in Arabic. So this facilitated a lot of things for me. But if we're talking like culture-wise, I think Spain is, the weather is amazing. So it's different from like Northern Europe. People have like the outdoors culture a bit more. We enjoy the beaches. But like specific one-to-one differences between Egypt and Spain, I would say it has to be mainly the food. I think I still haven't gotten too used to Spanish food. I think my heart still belongs to Egyptian food.
Okay, thanks. Any cultural differences, Joy, that you experienced between Nigeria and, well, and Spain, Barcelona? Any cultural shock that you experienced when you arrived?
I think I'm a very terrible example for, I've had these questions. I've had more culture shock in Nigeria than actually in Spain, which is ironical. I moved from, when I went to OAU, the people who are Yoruba people would know, I moved from the South to OAU. I had more culture shock there than moving from Nigeria to Spain. But I will tell you this, and it was the fact that it's something little as, you know, traffic lights that work. The power to go across the road when the light turns green, when the pedestrian light turns green, it's amazing. I feel so empowered. Like I'm seeing, oh, like, oh, it's green, it's my road now. That doesn't really happen in Nigeria. So I still feel very like I'm very cocky when that happens. I'm like, yeah, you hold on, you car, I'm passing now. But in Nigeria, you have to be like, you have to take some swift dodge to cross the road. So I think that's one thing that, you know, initially I used to be very hesitant, but now I'm like, okay, it's my turn. I own the road now. So yeah, not much culture shock. I mean, mutual respect, people generally everywhere. The same way we have people from different cultures, you show respect for their culture, you're open to learning, and it's fine.
Yeah, Barcelona is a really easy city to live in, right? Transport is very easy. You can walk everywhere. It's a safe city, right? Compared to well, South Africa, Nigeria. It's very safe. I've been living here. Me personally, I'm from Belgium, so I've been living here for 20 years, and well, I feel safe where I go. Of course, you have to be aware of pickpockets, like everywhere, right? But I didn't experience anything in the 20 years that I've been living here. So it must be very well a relief. I remember, Nicole, when we met the other day, we went for a hike, and we were here on the mountain in Barcelona. And the first thing Nicole said when she arrived, "Is it safe here to walk around?" Right, Nicole?
I definitely visited. It was so beautiful. It was outdoors and all of these, and females were walking by themselves. So I asked Yusi, are they female? Is it safe to walk here? And can you come at night as well? And Yusi's like, yes, it's completely safe. So definitely amazing, amazing, amazing. Being from South Africa, I completely love that part about Barcelona and the walking culture. You walk everywhere, or you take public transport everywhere. Kind of in South Africa, you need a car to get everywhere.
Yeah. There was also a question on where in Barcelona are you living and why did you choose there? I mean, maybe not everybody is familiar with the city, but yeah, how did you recently found your room? I mean, your apartment, Nicole.
So I'm actually staying with one of my fellow MBA colleagues, his girlfriend. She's studying at a different university in Barcelona. And so we're sharing an apartment together. It is in central Barcelona. So really little cafes and flower shops actually live right next door, a little indoor market with fresh fruits and veggies and fresh meat every day. So really, really, all the students kind of live within Gracia and Eixample. Those are kind of where everyone stays within Barcelona, but it's kind of a mix between residential, but also good nightlife. And by nightlife, I mean, it's not really allowed right now because of COVID restrictions, but there's a lot of little cafes and outdoor spaces where you can grab something to eat for breakfast or lunch. But yeah, that's basically where.
And Joy, where do you live?
Yeah, central Barcelona as well. I live in Gracia. It's easy. The commute is easy, even though it's not in Sant Cugat where the school is. So I live very close to the train station. So I just walk 2-3 minutes to the station, and it's actually easier to live within these areas since you work a lot in teams, visiting your team members. Maybe you have some group works to get done, so you're not coming from a far place. And also, if you also want to, get going, have a cup of coffee sometime during the day, or just some dinner, or hang out with people. So it's usually nice when you live close to students. And another tip would be maybe probably depending on your financial situation, maybe get an apartment with fellow students as well to just cut costs, and that works. You could get really nice apartments and split the rent and still enjoy the city and not be in a crappy place. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, because I mean, once when you're admitted to the program, we do have a student advisor who helps with getting settled in Barcelona, giving you suggestions, and there are a lot of also Facebook groups where you can, well, reach out to other MBA students. Well, most of our students, they do get together and rent an apartment together. It's nice, well, to be with other students from different countries, experience the cooking together, right? The different dishes. So that's nice. So well, I put my email here in the chat. So if for any reason we were not able to answer your question, feel free to send me an email. I do have some quick questions for the three of you. What would be your favorite spot in Barcelona? We want to start maybe with Diaa, then Joy and Nicole, and go like this for the questions. Diaa, you want to start? Your favorite spot in Barcelona?
Oh, that's gonna be really tough. But if I'm thinking right off the bat, I would say actually it's not in Barcelona, but I love Sant Cugat because of the calmness and like it's on top of the hill. You get great weather and you get the fresh air. So I would say Sant Cugat.
Okay, Joy.
I think I'll piggyback off him. I'll say Sant Cugat. There's this place I called Autumn Wonderland during October. Then the walk path, I mean, the trees had fallen. It has this magnificent view. As you walk past it, you just see this whole change in weather and change in time, and it's just beautiful with trees lined. So I think I always look forward to taking that walk path. So I'll say Sant Cugat. But there's this place, I think it's La Esquinita in Gracia. A very nice cafe. It's very homely. They make fresh food and stuff, so I like that as well.
Okay, Nicole, your favorite place?
I'm a city girl, so I'm definitely going to say the beach because I've never lived in a coastal area. So I think just getting the vibe of the beach, everyone there's a lot of runners, a lot of cyclists, rollerblading, people watching, beach volleyball, even in winter. So yeah, that's been my favorite spot.
Very similar to Cape Town, right? Barcelona? A lot of points.
Mountain, how active everyone is, the wine, of course, let's not forget that. But yeah, very similar to Cape Town.
Okay, and Nicole, what's your favorite, free time activity? I know you don't have a lot of free time. You have 5 minutes. What do you do?
I think I've been trying to learn Spanish. So Duolingo has been the app that I go to try and pick up on some words when I have 5 minutes. If not, I'm trying to meet with fellow MBA students because I haven't met everyone as yet. So everyone is very welcoming, come over for breakfast or meet up or coffee. So between Duolingo and meeting people, or planning to meet people, that's my pastime.
Okay. I would have said half an hour because in 5 minutes, It's a little bit short, right, to meet people. Joy, what is your favorite free time?
Well, I'll go with the 5 minutes one. 5 minutes one, checking my WhatsApp story, my Nigerian WhatsApp story. It's always very entertaining. There's always a wedding going on, then showing my flatmates and like, hey, this is called Gele. And it's like, it's always the funnest thing to see because you just see weddings all the time. So somebody has gotten married, someone has given birth, there's a party, there's a big birthday party, there's something. So if it's just 5 minutes, I'm looking at my WhatsApp story and saying what's going on in Nigeria. Yeah.
Great. Be connected with home, right?
Yeah.
Diaa, and you?
For me, I would say just go for a walk because it might sound shocking to a lot of people who might live in Europe, but like walking freely in the streets and having like a pedestrian side just for yourself without the fear of being run over. It's just a liberating feeling just to walk in the streets of Barcelona.
Yes, yes. I haven't been to Nigeria yet, but I do remember some hectic stories in Egypt. Traffic horrors. So yeah, I mean,
we call crossing the road a national sport because everyone is just running.
yeah. Oh, good. So great. So to end here, I would like to end because we're already over 1 hour. One last question for the three of you. What would be your advice for our attendees wanting to apply for an MBA? Well, like a short advice that they can take away from this session. Diaa, you want to start? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I would say like the first thing, when in doubt, always ask. And for me, guys, not just because Ursi is here, but Ursi has been amazing during my process. She's always available on WhatsApp. Whenever I have a problem, I can just text her and she replies back. And just trust the process. I know a lot of people were worried about the scholarships. I applied for a scholarship and I got it, and just trust the process. Once you apply, they'll tell you there's a section. Do you want to do a scholarship? Say yes, go in, check the scholarships. Someone will email you. The process is always there. So if there's anything that's vague, please always reach out and you'll find an answer.
Thank you, Joy.
I'll say very few people have the perfect time to do the MBA. It's almost always when this is done, when that is done. If you want to do it, go for it. And if you think doing your MBA in a top business school that supports your goals, that likes collaboration, prioritize collaboration rather than, fighting over each other to get things done, ESADE is for you. And just in case you think, well, kumbaya, there is competition, but the competition is within yourself to do better than you did last time. So ESADE teaches you to improve yourself just so that you can be the best version of yourself, not just so that you can do better than Diaa or I can do better than Nicole. No. So look at the school. What the school says in its website is what it actually offers. And if that appeals to you, then go ahead.
Thank you, Joy.
Cool. I think for me, it's apply as early as you can. Just apply so that you can get the decision in, figure out what the scholarship opportunity is so that you can work towards a goal of when do you want to begin and what is your financial issue. I think from people in Africa, finances is probably one of the biggest hurdles and barrier to doing your MBA abroad. And I think it's probably getting to mix and meet so many international people and understanding the differences, the different issues that everyone experiences. There is a huge benefit to doing an international MBA over others. When you do apply, if you do apply to other schools, you will see that URSI is different to anyone else you will experience in any other school. So I'm not even going to tell you about that. You will experience that. If you apply, you know what I'm talking about. Apply early, make decisions early, commit, and just do it. Do it. Like Joy said, there's no better time to do it. With everything that's going on in the world, the dust is now settling. You want to make sure that you come out of this stronger and you have a plan once you get out. So that's my advice.
Okay, thank you. So my advice would be, if you have to the attendance, if you have questions, don't hold them for you, don't wait with it. Please send me an email. I'm happy to schedule a one-to-one session with you to go further in and well, look together if this MBA is a good fit for you, first of all, right? Because it has to be a good fit for both, right? And to also talk about your aspirations and yeah, connect you with any other students if you're interested in well, a specific area, sector, talking with a student or alumni from your country. I'm more than happy to connect you so that well, you make the best decision for you, right? So Diaa, Joy, Nicole, I've been very fortunate to have you with me. I would say the best thing for me in my work is being able to work with students like you and to see your motivation and always your availability to talk to candidates. So thank you for that. By the way, this session is being recorded, and I will send all of you the recording in case you want to watch it again. Send it to contacts of you that are interested in hearing more. So you will receive an email from me. I'm sure that the three of you are fine that I will copy your LinkedIn profiles in this email together with the recording. And then also I will put my Doodle agenda there, so you can book a personal session with you if you're with me. Sorry, if you're interested in that. So I wish you a lovely evening. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope to hear from you very soon. Bye-bye.